Hello, my lovely listeners. I'm Dr. Mary Barson.
And I'm Dr. Lucy Burns. Welcome to this episode of Real Health and Weight Loss. Good morning, gorgeous listeners. It is Dr. Lucy here from Real Life Medicine, and I'm joined by the ever wonderful, but even better today for a very special reason, Dr. Mary Barson. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. If anyone out there is as geeky as I am, and I hope that there's a few geeky people out there, you would know that today I am turning the answer to the life, universe, and everything. I am 42. Very satisfying number for a sci-fi geek like me. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference there, people. I'm 42. I'm 42 today. I feel great. I feel 42 and fabulous.
Yeah. And you know what? 42 is like twice 21. So huzzah for that.
It's like my second 21st birthday. Yeah. I reckon I feel as good as I did when I was 21, plus bonus of having a lot less, just sort of general angst as well. Yeah. Second 21st birthday, feeling fabulous and much less adolescent angst. Yes, it's good. It's good. I'm feeling great.
I know. And it's interesting because aging, getting older, you have to do it. The only option is don't get old or die. Like, they're the two choices. So, we've got this big thing in our society that getting older is somehow to be feared or to be, avoided. In fact, there's that whole phrase, anti-aging. And I kind of think, wow, it's interesting, isn't it? 'Cause literally anti-aging is dead. That is the only way to not age, is to die. I guess we can accelerate our aging process by some of the things that we do. But I kind of just think, why can't we just embrace the little phrase of sort of optimal aging?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. And I really do. I feel, physically as well as I think I ever have. I just do. I've got lots of energy. I don't have pain. I feel really good. And it's sort of like a slightly strange from like an esoteric point of view. I sort of think 42. Part of me thinks that sounds really old, but I don't feel old. And also, yeah, absolutely. If I have to choose between, dying or aging, I choose option 2, please.
Yeah. Absolutely. Option 2 all the way. And I think, there's a couple of things that I was thinking about this aging hoo-ha. And it has been, particularly for women, a long held societal belief that, being old as a woman is somehow, wrong. In fact, it's a slur. Oh, you silly old woman. The old woman line is, oh my God, stop being such an old woman. It's like, wow, it's interesting. Older men somehow don't get that same, older men are often, considered experienced or wise. And, if we look at the president of the United States, I think he's 78 off the top of my head, whereas a 78-year-old woman's often considered old and feeble.
Mm-hmm. And you have the sexy dad bod, that's a thing. I'd say that I'm a proud owner of a sexy mum bod. I'd say I definitely don't have the physique of a fitness model, but I reckon I've got the female equivalent of a dad bod, and I'm damn proud.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. This body of mine is getting out and proud in summer. I can tell you what, not now because it's freezing, but later on, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And this just encompasses your beautiful phrase of your body is not an ornament. It is the vehicle to your dreams. And as a vehicle, we want it to be aging optimally. We want it to be functioning optimally. And we want to, maximize its capacity and all the things it can do.
Yes, that is what we want for everybody. And beautiful Lucy, last night you gave a wonderful masterclass on menopause and how to navigate menopause for optimal health. It was fantastic. We had hundreds and hundreds of beautiful humans came along. And I would love you now in this podcast to all of our beautiful listeners to tell us how we can live our very best life through menopause and beyond.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, we know that with all normal aging processes, there are changes that happen. There are, for women, the changes can happen around, obviously, hormonal things like pregnancy. In fact, every single month when you're menstruating, there's changes. But, pregnancy and all of those all have significant changes to our body. And then, I guess menopause is the end of that reproductive era. And there's another significant change that happens then. And we know with hormones, I've actually, how we were talking about, we're not bags of calories. We're definitely not buckets of calories. We are certainly buckets of hormones, though. And
yes.
All of our hormonal processes, they all affect each other. And I think you've coined that phrase before. But it's our body is really very much like an orchestra. And so, if one aspect of the orchestra, if the strings become too loud, the body, it doesn't quite sound right. It's just not quite, it's not in tune. So we definitely want to keep an eye on things because over time, I guess one of the most significant things that we know that we don't talk a lot about is that we all reduce muscle mass. And again, that was fine when we all carked it at 50, hundreds of years ago. We don't cark it at 50 anymore. And in fact, we don't even cark it at 60 or 70 or 80. But we're now living 90, there are plenty of well-functioning 90-something-year-olds. And over time, as modern medicine continues to improve, we will extend that lifespan. But what we want for our people, what we want for you is to extend your health span and how you feel. Because really, who wants to live forever? Well, not forever, but who wants to live for a long time but be frail and, just not functioning? So this is what we covered a bit in the masterclass, is that as our body changes and particularly as our muscle mass decreases, a whole heap of other things happen. So the decreasing muscle mass, I guess one of the flow on from that is, muscle being a metabolic organ, is that we all naturally increase our insulin levels over time. And it's like, And, is this significant or not? Well, it depends where you're starting. So if you're starting at a base of insulin resistance in your, early 30s, 40s, and as you get older, it is going to get worse, significantly worse. Menopause brings on its own special circumstances around that because estrogen is like an insulin moderator. So when we have estrogen on board, it does protect us. It protects our muscles and it makes our cells sensitive to insulin, which is great. It's nice to have that. But we also know that estrogen it declines, it stops. Menopause, suddenly you basically halve your estrogen. And so we then have to go, okay, so we've halved our estrogen, which means our muscles are now not protected. Our insulin is now more sensitive. Our brain, also protected by beautiful estrogen, is now more prone to stress, more reactive. Estrogen is a lovely mood stabilizer. So now we've got higher cortisol. So we end up with this situation where we've got high cortisol, high insulin, low estrogen, low muscle, and our metabolism basically slows down.
That's like the bad news. That sounds bad. Like kind of the opposite of, let's all age really well and have boundless energy and live our best life for as long as we possibly can. But I have met lots and lots of women in particular who could relate to feeling blah in that menopausal, perimenopausal period.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest change that happens is because there is this, reasonably rapid decline in estrogen, we have a reasonably rapid increase in our insulin resistance. We can't access our fuel stores. People hear us talk about this all the time. Fuel your energy. When people talk about energy, I haven't got any energy. What they're talking about is I don't have any fuel. Again, I think we've got this slight disconnect between what does tired, fatigue, like what does it literally mean? And, you can all probably relate when your muscles feel tired, when your brain feels tired. And really what it's saying is that it's running out of fuel. It can't access its fuel. It's used all the fuel up, various iterations of that.
So we've got imagine we've got a beautiful woman called Jennifer, and she's navigating this time, this perimenopausal time, and is feeling overwhelmed. She's got work. She's got the kids. She's sleeping terribly, waking up all the time, feeling irritable, feeling stressed, snapping at people. Family life is suffering under the snappiness. So kids are probably also teenage and hormonal and snapping back. She's exhausted. She's stressed. She's overwhelmed. So, well, fan-bloody-tastic, Dr. Mary and Dr. Lucy. I'm losing muscle mass because of my estrogen. That's really helpful. Great. Wonderful.
Yeah,
I've got no time. I've got no energy. Yeah, just throw that on there. What would we say to beautiful Jennifer? Because, oh, man, there are so many gorgeous Jennifers out there.
There are. And they're living in a house that is basically, one hormonal shitstorm. You've got teenage acne and menopausal hot flushes. Never the twain should meet. So what we would say to Jennifer is that I know, I am a menopausal woman. I know exactly how it feels, and it feels rubbish. And you kind of are down in amongst the weeds, and it's hard to sometimes see your way forward. And every suggestion feels like just another job. The thing that we do, and this is the really tricky part, is that some of the mechanisms that we use to cope with these changes are not actually super helpful. And what I mean by that is just things like, and again, there's no judgment here. I did exactly the same, but it's, using coffee as a stimulant and a fuel source. So, I love an alliteration. So I had Lucy loves lattes and lollies, and that was my mechanism to get me through the day because I was running out of fuel in the afternoons. So there we go, bag of snakes, couple of lattes, and off I'd run for another hour or two. And the tricky thing with that is that, that amount of sugar actually ultimately decreases access to your fuel stores. The caffeine actually increases your cortisol, which is part of the problem in the first place. We then sit down at the end of the night and all we want to do is have a glass of wine on the couch, watching, endless hours of Netflix and not talking to anybody. I never wanted to go to bed. Going to bed meant getting up the next day, starting the whole rubbish cycle again. But the thing is, you can't say to somebody, oh, well, just stop your coffee, stop your lolly, stop your wine, without giving them the things that you need to do instead.
Yes, I could imagine the Jennifers out there saying, you're not taking away my sugar and my wine and my 5 daily lattes because I'm running on coffee and hope right now.
Yeah, do not take those away, understandably. And, you can't, and it doesn't work. What happens is we give people the tools they need. So they introduce those and all of a sudden they don't need the latte, the lollies, the wine. They don't need it. And so therefore not having it is easy. But just taking it away, that's not a solution.
No. You want to fix the actual underlying issues. I should clarify that if you want to have some coffee and wine, that's okay too. We're talking about not needing it. Wanting it is fine. So yes, it can be easy. It can be easy when you know how. So beautiful, Lucy, what are some of the beautiful things that we help people with that's easy, that can really fix their fuel problem?
So I guess the summary, as we get older, our metabolic rate slows. Lots of science to support that. We know that. Okay, so what we want to do is therefore counter that and boost our metabolism, really optimize our metabolism so that we can live a life with plenty of energy, with clear thinking, so that we don't feel stressed, anxious, worried, so that we've got energy to do the things that we love doing. And we do that And there's 4 main levers that I would look. There's a few little side levers, but we're going to stick with 4 for the moment. So the 4 levers, we look at our nutrition. Okay, we look at our food. In particular, really optimizing protein, minimizing carbohydrates. Doesn't have to be keto, doesn't have to be high protein, but what we want to do is we really want to optimize the amount of protein. And most people, particularly women, because, we were taught to have salad. Men was for meat, meat was for men. Women were taught to have salad. Most women are under eating their protein. So protein, we are, actually putting in some doable, practical strategies to reduce cortisol. So if we can reduce our cortisol levels, then the flow on from that is profound. And there's lots of things that you can do to reduce cortisol. I think that's the thing. People think it has to be meditating on a rock. Meditation is one tool. It's certainly not the only one. And I think, again, what happens is people think that you have to meditate for a long time, and you have to do it all the time. And honestly, the power of small steps is so profound that you just start with like 1 stingy minute. Lots of tools to optimize, to, really kind of manage that cortisol level. Sleep, again, sleep is your absolute superpower. We take it for granted in general. We do. We don't prioritize it. It feels like it feels like it's not that important. But honestly, if there was a pill or a potion, an injectable that gave you the things that sleep gives you, well, basically, Maz, you and I'd be retired.
That's right.
We wouldn't need it. Everybody would, be just clamoring for this. So I know there are barriers to sleep. I know it's not as simple as just go to bed, but it can be easy if you've given the right tools. And I guess that's what we love providing with people with actual tools that will help them sleep, not potions. Again, not pills and potions. I mean, pills and potions, we're doctors. They have their role. Of course they do. But then they don't address the root cause. And then building muscle. Muscle is your metabolic organ. And again, you can build muscle. It's not, you don't have to go and lift 100 kilo weights, but really using your body. And the thing about the muscle, right, is that you do the movement and the exercise, that comes sort of down the track. You don't need to start with that.
Yes. And that becomes so much easier when the food, the sleep and the mind are in the right place. Then the movement, wanting to move just naturally happens, is what we see with our beautiful Jennifers and all the Jennifer-like people out there.
I know. And that's the bit I think that we love seeing. We see people go from Jennifer, the Jennifers who are overwhelmed, who spend they feel like they're running on a treadmill or a hamster wheel. They're buying takeaway because they've run out of time to order food, to, get their shopping delivered or even go to the supermarket. Or they go to the supermarket and they stand there and they think, oh my God, what the hell are we going to eat? And so they just grab a lasagna. So we see that. We see it all the time. And we see them move from that to this next phase where they're cooking most nights, but it's easy. It's not hard cooking. Okay, you're not there slaving over. You're not cooking 45 meals to cater for your family's whims. Just being able to provide people with easy, family-friendly, quick, cheap, delicious meals that actually, food is medicine. That's the key.
Lucy, as I've been reflecting, as we're gearing up for this next 12-week Mind Body Rebalance that's starting September 2nd, just looking back that now over 1,000 beautiful people have done our 12-week Mind Body Rebalance. I think it's 1,081 people exactly, which is pretty exciting. And just reflecting on this, I feel it's such a wonderful privilege to be able to do this, to help people easily reclaim their health. And as people easily learn how to reclaim their health by managing their food, their sleep, their mind, weight loss happens as this sort of this happy side effect. And weight loss for us it's important, and people are allowed to want it. And I think that it's perfectly fine to want it and to work towards it. And it's definitely doable and it can be easy. But to me, it is honestly this happy side effect of everything else getting into better balance, of us just improving our health and our health span so that we can age better, so that I can feel as fabulous now in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years as I do right now on my 42nd birthday.
Yes. In fact, we may have a podcast on your 84th birthday.
Let's do it. Lock it in.
I know. And beautiful listeners, you know that I'm 55, so I will be 97.
Yeah.
Recording a podcast with Dr. Mary, who is going to be banging on about how fabulous she feels at 84.
Yeah, that's right. My 42nd birthday.
Yeah. Because you'll have managed your mind, you manage your food, you sleep beautifully, you've got muscle, and you'll be thriving.
Yes. Gorgeous ones. Our 12-week Mind Body Rebalance starts September 2nd.
Yeah, which is in 3 days.
It is, absolutely, yes.
It starts on Saturday, and that's in about 4 days from now, if you're listening to this on the day it comes out. We are super excited. It is a beautiful privilege, as you said, Mares. The other thing, I was reflecting on this. Yeah, we have had 1,080-something people go through, and nobody, maybe I've got rose-coloured glasses here, but I'm going to say nobody has got to the end and ever said to us, gee, that was a waste of time. What a crock. Nobody has said that. And for that, I just think,
No, we get the most beautiful feedback that fills my heart with joy. The beautiful transformations that we see for people, both inside and out, as they go through this wonderful 12-week program with us. We are in there with you, doing it with you, like almost literally, but not quite literally, holding your hand through every step of the process. And we help you make it easy and doable and long-lasting.
And, I was thinking about this the other day. If sometimes I reckon what happens is people get stuck in the has to be perfect and it has to be all done tomorrow. And I was thinking about this even in relation to things like, reducing plastic. Like that for me is this eternal quest to reduce the amount of plastic. When I look around and I go, oh my God, there's too much. I'm just not doing any of it. However, we do know that if you start with a little bit, all or something, a little bit is better than nothing. So we take this thing that sounds big and hard and make it easy because it's done in little steps. The power of small steps over 12 whole weeks. It's like, I was thinking today that we've had a few early birds join and I have a special little masterclass with them tonight, not a masterclass, a coaching call. And I was thinking, I'm going to be with these peeps for 3 whole months. Like it's wonderful.
Oh, it really, really is. It's really important for us to not fear the small steps. Small steps are powerful, and small steps actually equate to large, fast strides really, really quickly. But small steps are doable. Small steps are easy, and small steps is how we get these powerful changes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, and I would always say to people, and especially, if you're a menopausal woman, you are like me and have been exposed to a lot of diet culture and a lot of dieting. And it's always been about punishment, about restriction, about being strong in the willpower department and really focusing on, this sense of deprivation as a badge of honor, which is actually BS. It doesn't work. It doesn't. I'm here to tell you it doesn't. But there is a way in which you can lose weight, if that's what you want to do, in a way that supports, nurtures, nourishes your body, doesn't cause it long-term harm, for which you will feel good. And I was listening to last week's podcast. I don't actually listen to my own podcasts because that sounds a bit wanky. But I just noticed one of the reels on socials, and Paul, who was on last week. If you haven't listened to last week's podcast, please go and do it. He lost 54 kilos. He has lost weight before, but when he did it using other methods, he basically stopped because he felt like rubbish. when he did it with the low carb approach, looking at food as nurturing, nourishing, protein heavy, low carb food, he felt good. I mean, and he started feeling good very, very quickly, which is why he's then been able to implement this and lose 54 kilos with really the focus not actually being on the weight loss.
So, gorgeous ones. If you would love to learn more about our beautiful 12-week Mind Body Rebalance and find out what 1,081 other people have have loved, then check out the link below in the show notes, or you can go to our website, www.rlmedicine.com/12WMBR, and all the details are there. Beautiful humans.
Absolutely. And we can't wait to see you and watch your transformation. That's actually the bit, isn't it? And, I know we're meant to be finishing it. I'm just waffling on a bit. But the pride you have, the pride you have when you see something or someone succeed. So whether it's your child, whether it's your pet, when you go, oh, my dog's so good. And for me, it is that beautiful, what's it called? Is it Freud? There's that fancy word. It's the opposite of Schadenfreude.
Oh, the opposite of Schadenfreude.
Yeah, I think it's something like Freudenfreuden, okay. And it is the joy of other people's joy. So we see that and we watch them and we see them change and just go from feeling like, they've got no light within to glowing and full of light and vibrancy. And, it's worth it.
That's why we have the best job in the world, Dr. Lucy.
We do. All right, gorgeous one. On that note, I have to go and have a little chat with one of our peeps, so I'm excited to meet her, and I will be excited to meet all the new 12-weekers coming in this week.
Bye, gorgeous ones.
Bye, darlings. So, my lovely listeners, that ends this episode of Real Health and Weight Loss. I'm Dr. Lucy Burns.
And I'm Dr. Mary Barson. We're from Real Life Medicine. To contact us, please visit rlmedicine.com.
And until next time,
thanks for listening.
The information shared on the Real Health and Weight Loss podcast, including show notes and links, provides general information only. It is not a substitute, nor is it intended to provide individualised medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor can it be construed as such. Please consult your doctor for any medical concerns.